Hey guys, welcome to FPL Friday. In this episode, we'll be able to go over Game Week 2 transfers you might want to make, hidden gems. We also have a new section called 15-second surgery, where we have people sending their teams with a question, and we'll give them advice, transfer options, whatever they can make, but we're keeping it short to 15 seconds. We'll also be going over our team and how we did. So without further ado, let's get into that. Starting at the back, Van Dijk was able to save us some points, but having him and Trent was a really big hindrance. I thought it would be a very good pick, seeing as how, very good returners, both of them, but we might have to take a look into that. Kyle Walker-Peters, very lucky not to get that red card, even though I don't think it was a red card. VAR overturned it, ended up being a yellow, but still he was bombing up and down that right side, but he didn't do a lot of defending, so I'm kind of worried about that, but we're probably going to hang on to him. Further on up the field, Mo Salah, our captain, Mr. Dependable. Not much else you can say about him. Dele Alli, a bit worried. We're going to go into that a little bit more on Spurs, but him and Kane, I'm a bit worried. They both just don't look right. They both look like they're playing out of position. Kane looks like a number 9 playing a number 10 role almost, where he just keeps dropping into the midfield, and then Ali just basically just doesn't know where he is. I see him sometimes doubling up on the left with Son. Sometimes he's, he was getting in great positions, but he wasn't getting the ball when he was in those positions. But every time he did have the ball, he was in positions where he shouldn't be, in fantasy aspects, where he really can't get us a lot of points. Moving on to the forwards, Mitrovic came on at half, looked really bright, sharp. Fulham really changed how they were playing once he came on. Same with Shea Adams, looked really good, was very unlucky to not score against Crystal Palace. I think Gaetan did very, very, very good, saving, I think, 2 or 3 separate chances from him and Danny Ings. But 68 points is not too bad for the first week, seeing as how we have Rashford on the bench willing to come in for this game week, and I think that'll be the good option for us to have on the bench. In this section, we will be going over hidden gems. This may include players that have low ownership. It could also include players that have upcoming run of good fixtures. It could also include players that are low priced and maybe going up, or low priced and a good per million option, meaning for their price, they're going to be getting a good value. To start that off, Size from Wolves, very good defender. I thought he looked very good, very attacking. Could have had 2 or 3 goals, honestly, in that game. I'm not too big on him against Man City, even though I do think he could trouble them. But they have Ake. I think Laporte is back, but he might not be back for that game. But further on, they have 5 or 6 runs where, they're playing very, 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 I don't want to say easy, but teams that are favorable matchups for Wolves. And he's, at 5 million, almost 4 or 5% owned. Very good hidden gem right there. Charlie Taylor from Burnley. I know they didn't play the first week. That's probably why he's not getting a lot of traffic, but he ended last season very, very, very good. I think he could pick up exactly where he left off. And Burnley, as we all know, are very solid defensively. So not much you can say about him. He's also at 4.5 million, so another 4.5 million defender who has come in with great value. Moving a little further up the field, Zaha, 7 million. I think Crystal Palace came out a lot better than they showed, I guess, in Project Restart. Zaha is playing a lot further up the field. They got Batshuayi from Chelsea on a loan move, I think. Townsend looks way better than he did before. Kouyaté, who they got from West Ham, looks a very solid holding midfielder. And at 7 million, playing midfielder in fantasy, forward in real life, that's a wonderful option. And then last but not least, Harvey Barnes from Leicester. At 7 million, I think he's a bit pricey, but if he can start scoring, I think he's going to be very, very good. In that Leicester game, I think he had 2 or 3, I want to say at least 4 shots inside the box compared to Jamie Vardy, who ended up 2 goals, but both of them penalties, had no shots. So you can see how much further up the field he's playing than he ever has before. And I think with Jamie Madison, it could only help him score and get into those positions to score and return fantasy points. It is now time to perform surgery. FPL surgery, that is. First up, we have FC Knowles. He wants to know what to do with this Sheffield D. And I know a lot of people have that defense from last season. They looked great. So let's get into it. This is his team right here. Okay. I would immediately either sell Stevens or Egan, drop Aubameyang in game week 3 for either KDB, Bruno, or Sterling, and then reinvest that and maybe into the Davis. I'm not a huge into having that third striker role being filled up by someone who's not really going to play a lot, especially someone who's not going to play a lot in a team struggling to get out of relegation. Next on, we have Nas, and he wants to bring in Bruno, and he wants to know how to do that basically. And I'm not too sold on Vardy. I would sell him for Jimenez or Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Maybe get that money and put that into Bruno in a week or 2. I don't see the rush in getting Bruno for the rise of 0.1 to avoid that rise. So I would wait that out. And then even you could even sell Son. Once you made that Vardy sell Son the week after that. And I love that Ducaro pick as well. Next up, we have Akil. Okay. And he is asking if he should have Trent and Son for KDB and Seiss and take a -4. No. I'm a huge proponent of not taking any negatives if you wanna end a good season on fantasy, especially if you really want to have a high ranking. You never want to take -4 hits. And I would say keep faith. You picked that team for a reason. I wouldn't let one game week change your mind. So I would say don't make any changes this week. Maybe if you just pick a 11 that'll play, and the next week you'll have 2 players. Some play Southampton, so no hurry. Trent is a must-have. So even if they are playing Chelsea, who Chelsea is not really, that great defensively, I think Trent has offensive potential in him. So I don't see the need to drop him. So my final advice would just be just to keep those 2 players. Wait for next week, and then maybe you could drop them for Seiss and KDB. But I don't see a world where people are dropping Trent and not being punished, basically. We'll now take a look at players that we want to keep an eye on. Just a few players to watch, whether it be they're getting loan moves, moves to different clubs, coming back from injuries, or just getting into a new position. And we're going to start off with Pulisic, Captain America himself from Chelsea. We thought he would be back for the first game week. Looked like he had a knock. And then Lampard has come out today, I think actually, and said that he will not be fit for this coming game week. But I think he is pretty close back to training. I think out of all the Chelsea options, midfield options, I think him and Mount would be the most tempting ones for me to go for. And then we could also look at Brewster, the striker, priced at 4.5 from Liverpool. I know Sheffield are really trying to get him on a loan move or even permanent move. I think if he could get either one of those moves to Sheffield, he'd be a steal. He'd be a plain 4-5, basically what Greenwood was for us last year. Playing, even if he wasn't scoring as much as Greenwood would have been, just a playing forward would allow us to at least have a 4-5 on the bench, which I'm not a fan of, but a playing 4-5 on the bench is a completely different option. So if he can get that loan move away, that'd be wonderful for us. Another player, Sterling, I think he has gone, he's not injured. Man City, of course, didn't have a game week 1, so nobody's really talking a lot about him because we didn't see him in action. But I think he's another one that could rival KDB, Sterling, Mane, all those midfielders. I know we have a lot of midfielders, so any midfield differential is a really great option for us to have. So I think that's a wonderful segue for us to look at a few players for our captain's options for this week. And let's not start off with anyone else, but last week's biggest captain option, over half of the fantasy world community captained him, and I think it's going to be the same ordeal this week, playing West Ham. West Ham looking to be the whipping boys of the Premier League this year. Their defense looked terrible, their midfield looked terrible. They didn't look good going forward at all. So I think whoever plays West Ham this year might be getting a lot of goals. But Aubameyang obviously is going to be a huge potential for captain options this year or this week before people ship him out, because their schedules are getting a little bit harder, and Man City's schedules will be getting a lot easier. Another great captain option for this week, who I think is going to rival Aubameyang, is Bruno Fernandes. Manchester United coming back from not having a game week 1. I think a lot of people are selling, arm and a leg, taking a -4, -8, even people using their wild cards just to get these Manchester United assets in, which I was a huge proponent of getting them in beforehand and just putting them on the bench, which I am very happy I did with Rashford. But another one, Bruno, he's on penalties. They've got a great schedule, and if you want a differential, of course, Rashford splits the penalties with him, midfield role, likes to play, come in top of the 18. I know him and Martial have made a living off of doing that, so I think that's going to be a wonderful option. And of course, you have the man, the myth, the legend, Mo Salah. I don't think this is a top 2 competition at all. I think this is a top 4, top 6 clash, meaning I don't think Chelsea is up to the level of Liverpool right now, especially not the defense, and not the way Mo Salah is taking, basically caution to the wind and just shooting everything that comes in sight of him. So I think he is a great, wonderful option. So I think I'm really tempted to captain him, but I'm also really tempted to captain Rashford. So one of them is going to be my captain, one of them is going to be my vice captain. And then last but not least, Kevin De Bruyne. I think it's going to be a tough game for them against Wolves, but you know how Man City are. You know how Pep Guardiola sets up his team. Seeing as how they didn't play the first game week, I think they're going to be itching to play. I think they're going to come out sharp. I think they're going to come out hot. And then Wolves not having their wingbacks, it might be, or having new wingbacks might be a bit of a trouble for them, because that was their saving grace the last time they played City. Doherty, Traore, those guys going up and down those flanks. But yeah, those are the captain's options. And then last but not least, we'll be taking a look at my team and the final decisions for this game week. Without further ado, guys, let's get into it. This is gonna be our game week 2 team. Starting at the back, as you guys can see, we've gone with Matt Ryan instead of McCarthy. McCarthy is playing Tottenham. You never know which Tottenham team is going to show up. And honestly, Matt Ryan and that Brighton team look a lot more solid than they did last year. Lamptey has really shored up that defense for them. At the back, we've stuck with the Liverpool pair, Trent and Van Dijk. I think I just decided to give them one more week. I don't know who I'm going to transfer out. I don't think it'll be Trent. So I guess I do know who I'm going to transfer out. But I'm not too sure on it. I just want to give him one more week because I'm not a big hitter on taking -4 or, even transferring a player out on week 2. because you got those players for a reason. We'll see how they do against Liverpool, and it does look pretty nice for them afterwards. And they, Trent is the highest scoring defender, and Van Dijk can get up there. We've also gone with Kyle Walker-Peters. Looked great, got bombing forward. Could do a little more defensively, but we got him for attacking threats. In the midfield, we've kept Ali. I want to see what Mourinho does with him. He said it was tactical, and Ali didn't play terrible. So I wanted to see what was going on with that before I wasted a transfer out on him. Zaha looks great. Not much to say about him. I think he'll score against United or some kind of return. Midfield, huge decision. We've gone with Rashford over Mo Salah for captain, simply because of the differential options. And Mo Salah, hit a hat trick last week. I don't think there's a huge likelihood that he'll hit another one this week against Chelsea. But I've gone with Rashford simply because of that higher ceiling. And I just have this weird feeling that this is going to be Rashford's year. He's going to really come into his own with that Manchester United team. All that talk with Jordan Sancho and stuff, I think he's really, really going to let them know that they have a superstar on their hands. We also have Kane, Mitrovic, Shea Adams. Kane, prolific scorer against Southampton. No need to take him out. Mitrovic has looked great. I think he just needs to find his stride. Shea Adams, same thing. They looked a little off, but I think Southampton under Hasenhüttl would really get it going. And then Maxim on the bench. I'm not a fan of him playing out wide in a 4-4-2. I am a fan of him playing out wide in a 4-3-3. I found him a little too far out from the goal to really do anything for my liking. And there you have it. That is our Game Week 2 team. I want to thank you guys for watching this episode. If you like what you hear, hopefully it'll help you crush your mini leagues, your big leagues, your competitors, friends, family, whatever. Give it a like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you scored, let us know if you have any hidden gems of your own that you think we should be keeping an eye on. And until next time, let's chase those green arrows, guys.
Don't forget to like,